to order the public hearing of the Board of Education for Monday, June 8th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bethay?
Here.
Mr. Booth?
Here.
Mr. Bosch?
Here.
Mrs. Popelka?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt? Mrs. Scully? Here. Mr. Zinnerman?
Here.
6 present.
Thank you. First thing we have is a presentation. Is it true?
Yeah, I'll invite Dr. Turnberger up at this time to talk about the reason for the public hearing. This may just use chairs.
So this evening, we're holding a public hearing on selling of $7 million of working cash bonds and $11,269,000 of life safety bonds. For the life safety bonds, this is the second step of that bond sale, and the proceeds for this bond sale will be used primarily for plumbing, electrical, and restroom renovations that are desperately needed across all 3 campuses. And the $7 million working cash bond sale will go for items that did not qualify for life safety, such as windows for all 3 campuses, parking lots, sidewalk repairs, built-in storage units throughout the classrooms. These are desperately needed, as well as these buildings are all pretty much all original when it comes to the classrooms.
So I think I just want to reiterate that this is part of the plan that we started talking about in the fall about addressing some of our facility needs across campus. Unfortunately, there have been some legislative changes that will allow us to do that. So I think this is just a continuation of what our plans were and what we talked about when we presented in the fall. So anyone else has any questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Dr. Trimberger. We have one action agenda item for this public hearing. Subject is Board of Education's desire to sell working cash bonds not to exceed $7 million for the purpose of increasing the district's working cash bond. Working cash fund and not to exceed $11,269 in school fire prevention and safety bonds for the purpose of conforming its existing facilities that house students to the building code promulgated by the State Board of Education of the State of Illinois by altering, reconstructing, repairing said facilities and having equipment purchased and installed therein. Do you have anything to add? Are there any questions for the board? If not, do we have a motion?
There is a technical. Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education approve the intent of the Board of Education to sell not to exceed $7 million working cash fund bonds for the purpose of increasing the district's working cash fund not to exceed $11,269 school fire prevention and safety bonds for the purpose of conforming its existing facilities that house students to the building code promulgated by the Board of Education of the State of Illinois by altering, reconstructing, and repairing said facilities and having equipment purchased and installed therein. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethay?
Yes.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully? Yes. Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is comments from the public about the public hearing. All right, if not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So, move on to our regular meeting. Give me 1 minute, please. Okay. Great. I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Board of Education for Homewood School District 153 from Monday, June 8th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Buffet. Here. Mr. Booth.
Here.
Mr. Bosch.
Here.
Mrs. Popelka. Here. Mr. Schmidt. Mrs. Scully. Here. Mr. Zinnerman.
Still here.
Six present.
Thank you. Next thing, Mayor, are future dates.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Just a reminder that beginning this week, we have Fridays off throughout the summer during June and July. So the business, the district office, and the building offices are open Monday through Thursday, closed on Friday. That will continue through the month of August, through the month of July, and then the first Friday back, August 7th, will be the first Friday that we have staff back for the summer. So again, June and July, all offices closed on Fridays.
Thank you. I need to go back one. I forgot to talk about, or the next thing on the item, or what should have been on the agenda previously, was the approval of the minutes from the regular Board of Education meeting of May 11th, 2026, and the special Board of Education meeting of May 26th, 2026. Are there any questions or corrections to the minutes? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of May 11th, 2026, and the special Board of Education meeting on May 26th of 2026.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Popelka. Yes. Mrs. Buffet.
Yes.
Mr. Zinnerman.
Yes.
Mrs. Scully. Yes. Mr. Booth.
Yes.
Mr. Bosch.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Right now, one thing I do want to mention before we move on is we did move on the agenda the audience participation. Usually comes a little bit further up in the agenda, but we did move it to the end of the meeting after the conclusion of business. So just so everyone is aware, and wondering where it went and why we aren't doing that as we normally do. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, or next thing on the agenda is presentations. So Dr. McAllister, you have a presentation.
Yes, good evening once again. At this time, actually a week or two ago, we had our last week of school, at which point we recognized our retirees. And this is always something that we look forward to celebrate the contributions of those who have worked in our district for several years. Unfortunately, fortunately, we have a really unique situation this year. And I'm looking and smiling at Mary Rymack. Mary was a longtime teacher at Churchill School. She taught there for 15 years. And then, kind of in the middle of COVID, correct, Mary? Right around that time, she made the decision to retire from teaching, but move immediately into an assistant role. And knowing how difficult it is to find high-quality assistants, much less certified teachers, we were thrilled, I was thrilled, to be able to move Mary into that role. The downside, of course, is that we never had the opportunity to properly celebrate her time as a teacher at Churchill. And then, most recently, she just finished her 5th year as an ESP, working at James Hart specifically. And again, we had our retiree celebration, and then once it was done, Mary said to me, I think this is going to be it. So I thought, now darn it, twice we had missed the opportunity to recognize and celebrate her. So I wanted to make sure that we had that opportunity to properly recognize you for everything that you have done for the students and families of Homewood, the Homewood community and Homewood School District 153. So Mary, at this time, if you would like to come up, we will get a picture.
And this is why I avoided.
And this is why we want you to do this, okay?
Thank you for pointing out.
Should we move the?
Why don't we do that? How's this? Is that better?
You're taller, I'm just saying the taller one.
Figure it out.
all of our retirees get a beautiful picture frame, engraved picture frame, so thank you from the board.
Thank you.
This too is for you, okay? And you and I will get a picture. Can you handle both of those?
All right. Next item under presentation is Resolution 630-26. So, Mr. Cinnamon, if you give the honors, please.
Hearing. Resolution 0630-26. Whereas Dr. Scott Gallister has served in the Homeless School District 153, Cook County, Illinois since 2013, serving as James Hart School Principal for 7 years, Associate Superintendent for 1 year, and Superintendent for 5 years. And whereas throughout Dr. Scott McAllister's tenure as Principal, Associate Superintendent, he continuously and tirelessly worked for the improvement of Homewood School District 153, budget, staffing, removing barriers, and creating access and opportunities for all students who are always at the forefront of his decision-making and action plans. Being an educational leader was never about Dr. McAllister. It was always about others, whom he treated with utmost respect and professionalism. He is a true testament to and representation of servant leadership. And whereas Dr. McAllister has made a positive dual impact on our students' lives as principal, associate superintendent, and superintendent. He makes sure all board members have a voice and are heard with no judgment. Dr. McAllister kept an open mind and treated all board members and families with the utmost respect and compassion. Whereas he is an empathetic leader that has always advocated for Homewood School District 153 students and staff above all. His willingness to listen and work collaboratively across the district and in the community enabled us to celebrate teacher contracts, pass referendums, and prevent bad legislative decisions in Springfield. Whereas Dr. McAllister provided steady leadership to staff, students, parents, and the Homewood community during the unprecedented challenge of COVID-19 pandemic. And through Dr. McAllister's wisdom, integrity, and dedication to public education, he has left a lasting impact on students, staff, colleagues, school board members, and the broader community. Whereas Dr. McAllister continually demonstrated his care and committed to every child and family in Homewood, District 153, not only in words, but through his actions on a daily basis. Whereas Dr. Scott McAllister prioritized building relationships with students by knowing their names each and every year as principal of James Hart. And whereas Dr. McAllister is respected and adored by generations of Homewood Flossmoor community whose lives he has touched over his years of service. And whereas Dr. McAllister is a proponent of equity, representation, and equality and champion these causes to improve the offerings of Homewood School District 153. And therefore, be it resolved that the Homewood School District 153 Board of Education, Cook County, Illinois, recognizes and honors Dr. Scott McAllister's many contributions to the Homewood Public Schools, the community of Homewood, on this 8th day of June 2026. Alex Box, Board President, Brian Zimmer, Secretary.
That being said, do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
Second. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Resolution is approved. So we'll get a picture of Scott too. So right up there. At least you're going to come up too. There you go, Scott.
Don't throw it off. It's a gently on the table. He's still doing it. Sorry.
Trying to give us a natural smile.
Lisa, there we go. These are not finished. All right. Moving along, next agenda item is board response. Are there responses, any questions or concerns raised by the audience in previous meetings?
There are none.
All right, thank you. Report of board committees and meetings. Does anyone have any reports from committee meetings? All right. Next is the superintendent's report.
Yes, at the last week of May, we were able to celebrate the graduation of 272 eighth graders. It's the biggest class in the district, and I know it was a celebratory evening for all of our graduates, their families, but also our staff. Excited to see those students move on to HF. Today was the first day of summer school and our extended school year program, so it was nice to see Willow School, where we're housing Willow and Churchill students, and then also the ESY program here at James Hart. So it's exciting to have students return to school for those programs. And also I wanted to mention, as part of my retirement process, I wanted to talk to our staff, and I conducted exit interviews, and I opened up those interviews to really anybody who was willing to sit down with me. And I shared this with all of you, and I also shared the results with the staff, but I thought I'd share it publicly. I was able to speak to over 180 people over the period of 3 weeks. And what I came away with was just this unbridled pride that our staff have in working in this district. And it is very reassuring to know that a great part of the reason people choose to work in Homewood School District 153 is because of the culture that has been created. And that starts with all of you. I do have some words that I'll share at the end of this evening as well. But a summary of some of those results, I asked 3 questions. I said, what are you most proud of? What was the highlight for you this school year? And overwhelmingly, the responses showed that student growth and connections, the ability for teachers, and I see a few of our teachers out there right now, the ability for teachers to build relationships and make connections with kids was the first thing that was mentioned most frequently. And then second was the relationships with their colleagues and the families in this community. So again, it shows that education is about people first and foremost. When I asked about concerns, I said, what was the biggest challenge that you had this year? The first thing they mentioned was the needs of our students are not diminishing. As a matter of fact, they are increasing year by year. Behavioral issues continue to be a challenge. And in my closing newsletter, which all of you saw, my newsletter that I wrote to parents, it was a bit of a forewarning in terms of how are we going to treat those who work in this wonderful profession. And so the other thing was related to that, which is parental support. And so we are only as good as our ability to connect with our families. And if we don't work hand in hand to guide our young people in the right direction, it is going to be increasingly difficult for those of us in education to accomplish what we want. And then the last question I asked was for the new superintendent, Dr. Hill. And Dr. Hill has been, as all of you know, we named her to be the new superintendent here in December. And ever since that time, she has attended every board meeting. She has attended every board committee meeting. She's met with all of our district administrators who are seated in the back. She's really immersed herself in District 153. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, but Scott, she's not here right now. And that's true, because tonight is her final board meeting in her district. So she was not able to be here this evening, but I'm super excited about her. But the question I asked our staff, if you had one thing that you could say, one bit of advice that you could offer to Dr. Hill, what would that be? And again, the number one response that I heard time and time again was the strong pride that people have for the the district and the culture of Homewood School District 153. She knows this. She is a resident of Flossmoor and has been for many years, so she's familiar with the HF community. But it's exciting for her, and I shared all of those results verbatim with her, but that was a summary that was provided. But I know she's terribly excited about coming here and working in the community in which she lives. But again, I just thought all of you should take a lot of pride in the fact that people who work here for a reason, right? Could they go elsewhere and make more money? Perhaps. But it is very difficult for them to find a place that offers the type of support and culture that we have here. So thank you.
All right, so we're going to move on to the consent agenda items. The first item is to authorize the chief school business official to pay the usual and customary bills for July 2026. Any questions, comments? B, approval of the district's e-learning plan.
Every 3 years, we are required to submit a revised e-learning plan. The plan that you have here, content-wise, is very similar to the plan that we have used, and it's been refined slightly since its inception. But really, thank you to Morgan Council for taking the lead on this. What you see is more a change in format. I think it's much easier for our families and staff to read. But this will take us up through the year 2029.
Thank you. Next item on the consent agenda is for the personnel report.
Yes, you can see, again, several of the summer interns that we are hiring and the resignations that happen every year. And just a whole lot of activity here as we kick off summer.
Quite lengthy. Any questions or comments from the board? All right. Moving along, approval of the consent agenda items, please. We have a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented, items 7A, 7B, and 7C.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bethea?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Moving on to the action agenda items. First item is second payment of May 2026 bills and first payment of June 2026 bills. Are there any questions or comments on the bills from the board? All right, if not, we have a motion.
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education authorize the second payment of May 2026 bills and the first payment of June 2026 bills in an amount not to exceed $3,428,858.84. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethea?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next item is the award food service grocery and meat product bids for the 2026-2027 school year.
Dr. Trimberger will come up and explain some of these. We have several items related to next year's fiscal budget, including several of the bids that were recently adopted.
So this time every year, we do a bid for food service items that the Director of Food Service puts out for things that she anticipates needing for the next school year. And we bid milk every 2 years, so the administration is requesting the board approve the results of the meat and grocery bid, as well as the milk bid. That's the next agenda item.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Trimberger? Comments? If not, do we have a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education award the grocery and meat products for the 2026-2027 school year to Performance Food Group at a cost of $78,792.39. Board Food Service at a cost of $134,124.30. Cisco Foods at a cost of $142,805.46. Alpha Baking at a cost of $9,949.50 for a total cost of, in case you were doing the math, $365,671.65.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Scully? Yes. Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
yes,
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next item is award the milk bid for the 2026-2027 and 2027-2028 school years. Are there any questions for Dr. Trimberger? If not, do we have a motion?
moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education award the milk bid for the 2026-2027 and the 2027-2028 school year to Prairie Farms Dairy in the amount of $31,815.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes,
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully? Yes. Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the approval of student and staff meal prices for school year 2026-2027.
So each year, the Illinois State Board of Education requires us to do an analysis of our meal prices based on a concept called paid lunch equity to make sure that the money we receive from the U.S. Department of Agriculture for the free lunch, free breakfast programs are not subsidizing the amounts paid by the students that are qualifying for those programs. So we're asking the board to approve a 10-cent increase for lunch and a 5-cent increase for a carton of milk for breakfast. It's the same as last year.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Trimberger? Any comments from the board? Now, do we have a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education approve the new meal prices of $2.55 for a student breakfast, $2.75 for an adult breakfast, $3.55 for a student lunch, $4.55 for an adult lunch, and 40 cents per carton of milk for the 2026-2027 school year.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
yes,
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next item is approval of non-resident employee student enrollment requests and tuition waivers.
Yes, a few years ago, as we were struggling to find staff members and keep staff members in the throes of COVID, I did request that the board consider allowing employees who do not live in the district, if they have children and wish for their children to attend school here, to allow them to do so. They would pay tuition as resident students do, student fees, but not tuition. So the board, you agreed to do this, and as part of our policy. One of the parameters we put in place was that if you're a certified employee, the policy takes effect immediately. So if we hired a brand new teacher, we are hiring teachers this evening, if we hire a brand new teacher, their children, if they were non-residents, could attend school in our district immediately. We also put in place a parameter for ESPs that required them to be employed for 3 years before we would allow them to have their children attend here if they were non-residents. We didn't really know what the popularity of this program would be, and last year we had fewer than 5 students who took advantage of this, so it certainly has not inundated our district with a lot of kids. We did have the request from some employees to lower that requirement of 3 years and make it fewer years. So, for example, instead of having to work here 3 years, you could work here 1 year and have your children attend school here. So the board, as we talked about at our special meeting just a few weeks ago, you agreed to accept petitions from employees, ESPs specifically, if they wish to take advantage of this, and have you consider them allowing their kids attend here if they haven't worked here for 3 years. So long story short, there's 3 people who are requesting that, and my recommendation is that we accept that.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Now, do we have a motion, please?
Moved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the non-resident student enrollment requests and tuition waivers for the following ESPs: Cindy Cole, Ebony Hodges, and Jordan Ross.
second,
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Buffet?
yes,
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next item is the approval of CLIC renewals. Our collective liability insurance cooperative.
Again, I will ask Dr. Trimberger to talk about some of those details.
We are a member of an insurance pool for property and casualty insurance as well as workers' compensation insurance. And each spring they have a renewal meeting that I attend, and they go over how the claims are going as a cooperative. Work comp is asking for an 11.2% increase. This is driven by two factors. We have contractual salary increases of 4.5% in year 2 for our collective bargaining agreement, as well as claims, and we've had some struggles with a few claims that have been on the higher side, so that is what drives that premium increase. So they're asking for $164,195 for work comp. Property casualty is 5.9% increase from $131,000 to $138,813. And from what we've all experienced for our homeowners insurance, we know that these rates are going up as well. School board legal is no change at $2,150. And they're offering some optional coverages for excess cyber and cyber crime. Cooperative has a coverage of $3 million for cyber liability. The administration recommends increasing that coverage to $4 million for an additional cost of $8,526. And cyber crime comes with a $500,000 limit. We are recommending buying $1 million of coverage for an additional $4,913.
Any questions?
Quick question. This is reviewed annually by the collective. Just trying to understand the time. How often do they evaluate all their membership and claims and so on to come up with the?
They have an executive board that meets monthly, and they have some annual meetings for all the members to attend in December and May, and I attend both those meetings.
Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, do we have a motion?
Move upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education approve the cooperative liability insurance cooperative renewals in the amount of $164,195 for workers' compensation, $100,038. Yeah, I don't know why I can't say this today. $100,038. $138,000. Yeah, it's late, and I'm working all day. Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education approve the quick renewals in the amount of $164,194 for workers' compensation, $138,813 for property and casualty, and $2,150 for fiduciary liability, and also for the purchase of an additional $1 million in cyber liability coverage for $8,256, and an additional $500,000 in cyber crime coverage for $4,913. Is there a second?
Whereas.
Shanta, you seconded? Or Becky did? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Roll call, please.
Who seconded?
Becky.
Okay. Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Matei?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
If I could hear it again, it would help.
Nope.
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Bosch, before we move forward, there's an old saying, don't ask a question for which you do not know the answer, or which you already know the answer, I guess it would be. I went to Beth White, our technology director, about the extra cyber crime coverage that we just discussed. And I asked a silly question in retrospect. I said, Beth, do you think we should get additional insurance coverage for cyber crimes? And Beth looked at me and said, what do you think I'm going to say, Scott? Of course. And as much as we can. In all seriousness, there's not certainly a month and maybe even a week that goes by where Beth isn't having a conversation with me and others in our district about cybersecurity. If you watch the news, of course, all of us at some point have been hacked by somebody somewhere with some of our personal information, but schools are increasingly being targeted. We're an easy target in many cases because we don't have the type levels of protection that many major corporations have. And we also have a vulnerable population, and then a lot of people don't take the time to look at their child's personal information. I mean, you just don't think that your child would have their information hacked. And it's not until 10, 20 years later that it's discovered. So there's a reason for that, but I appreciate Beth and James and everyone else in the tech department being very proactive with our protections.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of the 3-year contract extension with Whitfleet, our district auditors.
And so our 3-year contract expired for the fiscal year 2025 audit, and we paid $39,000 for that audit. Employees are proposing a 3-year extension with a $1,750 increase in the first 2 years and $1,500 for the third year. And the administration has enjoyed working with them as a new vendor to the district, and we recommend going into a new 3-year contract.
Any questions or comments from the board?
No, it was a noticeable difference to me, so,
Yeah, I would agree. Compared to our previous auditors, yeah, I would agree with these better. If not, no other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
moved upon the recommendation, moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the board approve the contract extension with Whitfleet auditors. This extension covers FY '26 for a total cost not to exceed $40,700, and FY '27 for a total cost not to exceed $42,500, and FY '28 for a total not to exceed $44,000.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethay?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes. Motion carries. Next item, approval of the 2026-2027 discipline handbook.
Yes, each year, the State Board of Education requires that districts convene a committee comprised of parents and school officials to review the discipline handbook and recommend changes. I did have that committee meet the past month. They sent you those summary notes, but the handbook you have here represents nominal changes and will be for FY '27.
Thank you. Any questions or comments by the board? Matt, do we have a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the discipline handbook for the 2026-2027 school year.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Popelka?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethay?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next and last consent agenda item is employment.
Yes, in the back we have our principals, and it's exciting whenever you bring new teachers into the school district. And congratulations to, and administrators, of course. Was that, what about me?
No, one of my teachers just looked back like, is it you? I said, it's us. You're welcome.
I mean, we were thrilled when we added you, Ryan, and Tara, and all of you. But yeah, I'd like to thank Willow Principal Ryan Jones and Churchill Principal Tara Peacock. They convened committees after screening applicants, and I know they're both really excited about the individuals that they're bringing forth. And it's really nice to see, I mean, this is the first time we've seen this in a few years anyway, talented teachers that are newer to the profession, right? If you look back on the several hires we've done, you know, immediately out of COVID and in the last few years, we were bringing in people with a lot of experience. And the reason for that was there simply wasn't a pool to hire anybody else. So now we're seeing younger teachers. We have somebody right out of college, and then the other two that we're recommending for employment this evening are both 5 years or less. So we're excited about that. So tonight I'd recommend for employment Krista Williams, 4th grade teacher at Churchill, Nia Harris, 2nd grade teacher at Willow, Nyla Seals, a 1st grade teacher at Willow, and also a district office position replacing Shelley Peck, who we'll talk about in a moment, Tamila McDade, executive support and communications coordinator.
Any questions or comments from the board?
No, it is exciting, and what we left out was the competitive nature of the city of Chicago, right? So I think that we'll start seeing a positive trend as this generation now looking at recession-proof jobs as well as mission driven. So this is exciting to see. That's my
Thank you. Do we have a motion, please?
Moved upon the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve the employment of Jamila McDade effective July 7th, 2026, and Krista Williams, Nia Harris, and Nyla Seals effective August 17th, 2026, upon the terms recommended by the superintendent, conditioned only upon receipt of a satisfactory criminal background report and upon receipt no later than August 1st, 2026, of evidence of proper legal qualifications for the position to be filled.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Matei?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yay.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. This is limited to items that are not on this evening's agenda. So if anyone wants to come up and address the board, or Dr. McAllister, now is your time to do so. Shelley?
Address and name.
Oh, I know the drill. I'm Shelley Marks. I live in Homewood. Scott, when you became superintendent, you expected to spend your first year settling into your new role. Instead, you got COVID.
Shelley, is it on?
Oh, no, it's not. Nothing to start up. No, never mind.
No, don't start up.
Most people ease into a new leadership role. You were handed a once-in-a-century crisis and somehow managed to guide parents, staff, and students through it with calm, patience, and trust. Looking back, I'm not sure whether we hired you as a superintendent or secretly recruited for disaster management. One of the things that has always set you apart is how accessible you are. In a time of automated systems, assistants, and endless voicemail menus, you actually answer your own phone. Sometimes I think people call just to see if you really would pick up. You connect with parents, staff, and students because you genuinely care about them. You listen, you show up. And you have a way of making people feel heard, even when the conversation isn't easy. Scott, you also have a gift for making everyone around you better. You mentored new administrators, new board members, you supported teachers, encouraged staff, and helped develop future leaders. Many people in this room are better at what they do, because you took the time to invest in them. The relationship between the superintendent and the board president is a unique one. It was a joy to collaborate with you. There were more than a few times I would watch you and be so proud of the incredible way you represent our district. Your leadership helped the district achieve one of its most important milestones, the overwhelming passage of a referendum that addressed the structural deficit and positioned the district for a stronger future. That's not just a financial accomplishment. It's a testament to the trust this community has in you and your vision. Of course, no superintendent does it alone. Behind every successful leader is someone who supports them through the late nights, the difficult decisions, the emergency phone calls, and yes, a global pandemic. Lisa, thank you for sharing Scott with all of us. We know that while Scott was answering calls from parents and solving district problems, you were often the one providing the support that made it possible. This celebration belongs to you too. Scott, your legacy will not be measured by test scores, student learning, balanced budget, successful referendums, or building improvements. It will be measured by the people you've influenced, the leaders you've mentored, and the community you've strengthened. It will be measured by the supportive family environment you nurtured. To paraphrase Elphaba and Glenda, because we knew you, we have been changed for good. Congratulations on your retirement, Scott. May your future contain fewer emergency calls, winter days when you don't care about forecasting storms and snow closings, no board meetings, and a lot more time with Lisa. Congratulations.
Come on up, Dr. Von Mansfield.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Vaughn Mansfield. I'm the former superintendent at Homewood Flossmoor High School. I just want to tell a little story. And the story is you have to be and surround yourself with good people. Be around good people. Make sure they're good people. And Scott is one of those good people. Scott came to us as a history teacher, assistant principal, and went on to become one of the finest superintendents here in the district. We appreciate what you did here at Homewood because you sent those great students to us, and they fared very, very well. So I don't have a bunch to say, aside from just thank you. I'm speechless, but your legacy speaks for itself. You know, I think about the perseverance and respect, integrity, dedication, enthusiasm. And if I could just boil up into one thing, it would be Scott McAllister. And you taught who you are, and I think as people have learned, it's been absolutely amazing. And Lisa, you as well. I've known you for these many years, and you've been the mirror and the inspiration behind that, in addition to doing your own stuff. So again, for all the students that you've served and all the teachers that you've mentored and grown, and the administrators, and along with the Board of Education, working in conjunction to make Homewood one of the best school districts in the state and the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? All right, if not, I have an email that I got from Dave Cush, who's the district lead for social science at HF High School. So I'm going to read what Dave had to say. In honor of Dr. McAllister's retirement, I wanted to share a few words about his contributions to Homewood Flossmoor High School as well as my personal career. I'm currently out of town and regret that I cannot be here personally to read this. I first met Dr. McAllister in my job interview to teach economics at HF. I remember the interview was different than others. The questions were much more content-driven, rigorous, and considerate of the complex issues we face when teaching social sciences. It made me really hope I'd have a chance to work in the community and learn from a teacher like Scott. When I arrived at HF's new teacher induction, Scott was one of the professional development coordinators running the program. He was waiting for us in the parking lot when we arrived to welcome us. Numerous teachers still talk about this and the impression it left with them of professionalism and care. I recall telling my wife that HF appeared to be run by some sort of group of super educators, in quotes, that would be hard to keep up with. I was lucky enough to teach the same subject as Dr. McAllister. I remember walking into his room once to ask a question about how he approached getting students to understand the difference between two nuanced ideas. I left the room with a completely different understanding of the matter, much deeper than I had before, and it changed the way I teach. There are numerous similar examples I could get into about this, and I know many other teachers do as well. Scott's been the ultimate team player, always reliable to help proactively. During ACT days, Scott handed out food to students, and I know this because a student came into my room to say, I think Jerry Seinfeld just gave me a cookie. As he became an assistant principal and I became a department chair, I relied on him often for advice, and he has been the best role model I've seen for leadership and mentorship. When Scott left to become principal of Hart, we at the high school were disappointed to see him go. We also knew that his work in the junior high would pay dividends at HF due to the continuity of strong leadership in 153. Nobody here was surprised when Scott became superintendent. During the past 10 plus years, I had the opportunity to work with Dr. McAllister, both in my role at HF, as well as working with District 153 on data issues. What I saw during this time is much what I would have guessed. Happy people and collaborating to do what's best for students. Scott is the type of leader to face challenges honestly and head on, not to avoid them. He exhibits skillful guidance that move the district in a positive direction while simultaneously building relationships with and among his staff. Dr. McAllister leaves large shoes to fill. That said, those of us who have worked with him know that we are much stronger educators for having had that opportunity. I wish him and Lisa the very best in retirement. Sincerely, Dave Cush, District Lead, Social Science, HF High School. All right. Anyone else from the audience? If not, we will move on to discussion items. Do any board members have any?
Yeah, This evening, I don't want the entire focus to be on me. Obviously, I'm retiring, and that's great for Lisa and I. But there is somebody else that I want to make sure that we acknowledge, and she was recognized at the district celebration, but she's also been at every board meeting that I've been at since I took over, and that's Shelley Peck. So Shelley is the one that sits beneath the tripod, and if you're watching from home, Shelley's the one that is projecting these board meetings each and every month. She's also the one, when you go to our website, anything that you see on that website came from Shelley. She takes the pictures, she uploads the content. Many of the newsletters that I write come from Shelley first, and I always tweak them, but believe me, she is the inspiration for a lot of my words as well. And Shelley, for over 21 years, you have been guiding the district in this communications role and doing it, what I would describe as behind the scenes. So many people don't even notice you as you're fluttering about at all the buildings and at all the events, capturing and publicizing the great things that happen here. So, it's an honor for me to be able to walk out the door with you, if you will, and have a new team take over. But please know how much the district and the community are going to miss you. And certainly as a resident of the community, I know we'll still be seeing you around, but thank you again for everything that you've done.
I'm going to add to what Scott said about Shelley. So I met Shelley probably 17 plus years ago. Hard to believe. I first met Shelley about 17 years ago when I joined the foundation board. And Shelley at the time was the executive director, I think that's what your title was, of the foundation board. And I know we spent many hours, many nights, a lot of conversations, both foundation related, interpersonal, personal and stuff like that. We became pretty good friends through all of that. And so I think a lot of the successes of the foundation were due to a lot of the efforts that Shelley put in and the time that she put into the foundation, and the result of all of that time and effort was that the foundation was able to do a lot of good things financially for a lot of teachers and staff. So I think without Shelley's time and effort and expertise and guidance, the foundation, I don't think, would not have been as successful as it was without Shelley's time and effort. The other thing I would say, I'm just going to reiterate what Scott said. Shelley has been the voice of the district through all of our communication channels, whether it's our Facebook page. I don't think we have Instagram anymore. We don't. We do? Okay, well, that's what we do. I see more stuff on Facebook come through than Instagram, but we do. Also, the newsletters and website and stuff like that. There's been a lot of hours of watching videos and stuff like that Shelley has taken that she's edited or just put straight up and stuff like that up on our website. So I think without Shelley's effort and her creativity and her skills, we wouldn't be able to, or we wouldn't be telling the story of the district like Shelley does. So thank you for that. The other thing about that I want to point out about Shelley is when we started videoing board meetings several years ago during COVID, and I already got the sign. I remember I in particular had challenges speaking into the mic, and so Shelley could hear me, trying to get closer, and I remember looking up at least 2 or 3 times during a board meeting whenever I talk, Shelley would motion to me, speak into the mic, or speak up, or all of that and stuff like that. So, and she's doing it to me now. So I think that's one of the things everyone miss about board meetings is looking up and not seeing Shelley back of the room for us, doing what she does. I do want to say I appreciate, and we're going to miss her creativity, dedication, and amazing effort to the district. And I wish Shelley and her husband Matt well as they begin new adventures. So the other thing from Jim Schmidt, who can't be here, he did provide some words for Shelley. Throughout her career at Homewood School District 153, Shelley has dedicated an enormous amount of time and energy to grow our communications and PR capabilities, get the word out, and advance our presence in both the Homewood community as well as the social media world. Her impact has not gone unnoticed as more people are now aware and able to celebrate in the many achievements of our students, staff, and overall district. Her care and concern for others, as well as the accuracy of the information and promoting the story, are all testament to who Shelley is and all that she's accomplished and contributed to Homeland School District 153. That's what I got for Shelley. All right, with that, are there comments from the board? Discussion items, anyone? Go for it.
We have, that was for you, Shelley. There's my thumbs up. All right, so we have for Dr. McAllister, dignitary all the way from across the other side of the world, Board Member Jim Smith. And he has some words for you, Dr. McAllister. First of all, he knew that I was going to have to read this. So, this dude, bear with me, he knew I had to read this. Just hear how it starts off. Ni hao, from China, Dr. McAllister. I am sorry that I could not be here in person tonight to celebrate you during your last school board meeting. Please know that I am here in spirit, thought, and thought. Our journey through this profession over the last 20 plus years has been beyond rewarding for me for so many reasons. And I want to thank you for everything that you've done for our students, staff, District 153, Homeland community, larger education profession, and selfishly me, being Jim. The well-being of these has, the well-being of 150, that's not right. The well-being of I'm just gonna improvise. It's not me, it's actually, I think it was up. Yeah, okay, we'll just go with it. I'm just gonna read this here. The well-being of these has always been a priority for you. And sometimes, I'm afraid, maybe even at the expense of your own mental, emotional, or physical well-being. Where you saw barriers, you worked tirelessly to remove them so that access and opportunity were afforded to all. You were never afraid to address the elephant in the room, or in the budget, or anywhere else for that matter. That is true leadership. Seeing what is wrong or needed and working to either correct or provide. You continually gave of yourself so that others may have. That is the true definition of servant leadership. You have always embodied that. To say that you are going to be missed, Dr. McAllister, is an understatement. In the climate and culture of our education profession, especially in recent years, you have provided reason, direction, common sense, stability, decency, and humanity in many cases where it felt like there was none or any hope in it at all. And above all, you always treated people with dignity and respect regardless of the issue at hand. You are always and have been kind, supportive, positively inspirational individual. In today's day and age, you're exactly what this profession needed and what the world needs more. You have been a gift and a blessing over the years, and simply stated, this is all caps. Wow, what an impact you've had on so many. A real difference maker in people's lives. And now tell me that's not quite an accomplishment. This is definitely Jim. You can tell this is hilarious. This is Seinfeld. Okay, all right. And finally, how is it finally? It's 2 more paragraphs. Okay, and finally, before closing, he did this on purpose, I'm telling you. And finally, before closing this letter that Ron has to read, he didn't put that. Let me not forget to thank you, your loving, supportive, and most understanding wife, Lisa. Because without her, God only knows where Dr. McAllister would be. I can only begin to imagine how proud she is of you, how happy she is for you, and how thankful she now will be having you home with her this is all caps, every single day. 3 exclamation points. Just try not to be in her way, Scott, and get on her nerves too badly, or she might just decide to send you back to us in the not too distant future. So once again, thank you, Lisa, for sacrifices you made over the years so that Scott was able to do what he did on a daily, weekly, yearly basis. Please know that we all are forever grateful. And finally, Dr. McAllister, you have definitely earned what you are about to venture out into. Some free time, no work-related daily or yearly schedules. Excuse me. Travel when and where you want, sleep in for however long you want, and anything else you possibly imagine, you've been dreaming of. Whatever your plans, enjoy the next phase of life, which you have worked so hard for, and know that District 153 family and friends appreciate you. Forever and gratefully to you for you. Excuse me, your friend, Jim. All right, so I'm going to be selfish and jump right in. Real quick, Scott, I just want to say that, as you know, I started a new opportunity, and I was meeting with leaders, and I was trying to figure out the right thing to say. And I came up with an acronym. It's nothing earth-shattering. I said RISE, right? And so when people leaders, especially, I thought of RISE, and one is they're responsive, right? Of high integrity. They're highly self-aware, and they're empathetic. And I kid you not, I thought about you. And I thought about you because the first day when you came here, this was a continuum. And this is not a good thing, this is a great thing. I saw the growth of someone who's like, okay, this is a new gig, I'm stepping into big shoes, and then you get your stride and you made it your own. And during a crisis, and it's the saying is that people, you can tell the true character when they're first, right? In tragedy. And during the pandemic, the entire staff led by you, of course, under Shelley's leadership, that's when I really saw all four of those just line up. And then through contract negotiations, and the first time I ever saw, oh, Scott. And it was like, okay. And then to see you with your darker blue on, and then see you in your costume for the kids, and when you played someone who's much older than you, that's what I'm saying, because it's going to show up somewhere else. That is where I just saw you continue, and I just truly feel that the horse is saddled up, and that you can ride out proudly. And I will miss do you have a few moments? And I will tell you that always meant a lot to me, that I was never surprised. There was one time in your leadership I was like, oh, I am shocked. I mean, I have liked what I heard, but when I talked to you, I felt better. And then lastly, what's missing also in a lot of leaders is that they try to make their clients or their colleagues or whoever into who they are. You always show true inclusivity and empathy as far as who your audience is. It was never one size fits all. I look forward to seeing non-superintendent. I really do, because I know that it's not far from what we saw. But I agree with Jim. I want to see it with less of the restraints of the school district. So I will talk to you later. And I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. McAllister, my family has had the very unique privilege of having you as both principal and superintendent. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you've done for our students and our staff members. I remember as a parent volunteer walking through the hallways and always seeing you being very present and seeing the positive impact that you've had on our students, including my own two sons who are now 22 and 18. And when I told them you were retiring, they wanted me to give you their, deepest congratulations and tell you that it's very well deserved and they appreciate all that you've done. I just love seeing the connection that you have with our students. Secondly, as a board member, we've had a lot of conversations. Some were not easy, some were, just go with the flow, and they were good conversations. But as stated in the resolution, one of the things I've always loved and admired about you is that you have always showed such great respect to all of our board members. You may not have agreed with what we had to say, or we may not have agreed with what you had to say, but there was always that level of respect. And you always heard everything we had to say. You always made sure when new board members came in, that they were heard, that one board member wasn't over talking another, and we weren't, but you always made sure that we were all heard, and all our opinions and our input all were valued. And I think that's a testament to your leadership, and I really appreciate that. I hope you, Lisa, enjoy your retirement, and it is definitely well-deserved. And so I appreciate all you've done. Thank you for your compassion and your leadership, and enjoy your retirement. Thank you so much.
As a educator myself, not sure what I want to be when I grow up, but I do know a couple of things that I've been taught. One is behind every strong man is a stronger woman, so thank you for your sacrifice and allowing us to experience Scott in the way that we have, with plenty of sacrifices, I'm sure, on your part too. I hope my wife is watching. Because I understand that she does too, of the sacrifices that we make. I was told that you can drink water from many wells, and as I venture out to try to figure out what I want to be, I think about just how ice cold you were in the punt run. In certain situations, really in every situation, just the intellect, the calm, the voice of reason that you bring to many different situations. I'm hoping to read the book if you care to write it. There's a couple educators out there that I call or tap into from time to time as what would Scott do, what would Vaughn do, and then what am I going to do? So I appreciate being able to drink from the well of knowledge of Scott McAllister. I appreciate it.
I'll just say, it never ceases to amaze me the people you come across and meet and run into who know Scott McAllister, and the amazing, wonderful things they have to say about you. It's just, people you would never realize had a connection with you. I think there's a generation of people who went through Homewood Flossmoor High School who had you as a teacher and speak so positively about you. People who were so excited when I joined the board because they were like, you have the best superintendent. And it's just amazing to have somebody who is so highly regarded by so many people, and just everybody you've touched here in the Homewood Flossmoor community.
I would just like to add, my first interaction with you was, I think, one-sided in a way because it was as a very nervous parent during COVID in the spring of 2020 on a webinar. Was I think the first time that I ever saw you or knew who you were, and coming into that as a parent of a third grader who didn't know what was going on and was just so nervous about everything, seeing you, seeing Shelley, I think in that moment just was such an incredible amount of relief of seeing who was going to be leading the charge, helping out our family, our kids, and in that moment, I was working with a lot of colleagues who, as we would share what was going on with our different children's school districts, didn't have a lot of information, and I could always say, well, I know what's going on at Homewood, and here's what we're doing here, and it was just so eye-opening to see how well you were handling such an incredibly stressful thing and making us all feel more calm in that too, and just getting to know you more personally, and that first impression was always just so indicative of the kind of person you are and working with you, and just wish you all the best and wonderful and good luck at your retirement.
So, I've been fortunate to be on this board for over 14 years now, hard to believe. Every year at graduation, Homewood Rotary does a presentation to a handful of students, based upon a whole rubric of things that they're looking for. And the person who's always been the presenter at our 8th grade graduation is Rick Thurnow. One of the things that he always talks about and he presents is the Rotary 4-way test. So I've listened to this like, presentation every year, and I've never really stopped, or I have occasionally stopped to think about those questions. So I'm going to read them today, so everyone who's not familiar with it, or has not heard Rick, is familiar with the questions, what the 4 questions are. Question 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And I put or relationships for this purpose. That's the same thing. And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Right? So is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships or relationships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So I think all of these questions are really simple and direct if you stop to think about them. However, if you stop and think about how do you apply them, how do you use these questions, how do you work with people, it's not really that easy. Questions are not that simple. And I firmly believe that Dr. McAllister applies all of these questions every single day of his life, both personal and professional. I think he's always tried to find the truth in any situation that comes across his desk, whether he wanted to hear what the truth was or not. He always wanted to know what the truth was, because that would help him figure out how to move forward. So finding the truth is something Scott always strived to do. Next, he always tried to identify a solution to any of these problems that is fair to everybody concerned. Try to, because you can never, I don't think, ever find a solution that is going to satisfy 100% of the people. I think you try and shoot for 80%, 90%, whatever the number is in that situation, but Scott always tried to go for 100% as best as he could. The next thing was build goodwill and better friendships and relationships. And I think a lot of us have commented on that, about that is one of Scott's traits. And I think, one of the things that I've heard, well, one thing that Scott talked about already was he interviewed 181 staff members 3 weeks ago. I seem to recall when Scott started as a superintendent, you did the same thing. So it's almost like he did an onboarding interview with all of the staff. I would almost say that they were interviewing Scott more than the other way around. But now Scott, I think, did an exit interview. So he, over those 5 years, he tried to build relationships with everybody, whether it was teachers, whether it was students. With students, he tried to learn, probably succeeded, learning every single student's name when he was the principal at Hart. I have a hard time with names. How Scott did that with 300 plus kids, I have no idea. But again, that was part of Scott's ability to build relationships. I think that's a phenomenal trait. And then the last thing, will it be beneficial to all concerned? I don't know, was he successful all the time? That is a matter of opinion. I think he was successful the overwhelming majority of the time. I think some of the people who may be around the receiving end of his decisions, there may be some who were like, yeah, it wasn't successful. I think he was successful and he did a great job. And then I wanted to talk about or give some traits of Dr. McAllister's that I have observed over the years. And probably a lot of them we've heard in different manners. So Scott's always been transparent, always been collaborative, always collegial, always pleasant, always genuine, always selfless. What you see is what you get. Wants to do the right thing. He's personable and treats others with kindness and respect. Let's see here. So this is my first year as board president. I was terrified when Shelley said she was going to leave, and I was terrified that my friends up here would vote for me. I did not present. So I say all that because I think having Scott as a superintendent, as my partner, Scott was able to teach me a lot about being president, things that I haven't learned. So Shelley too, but more closely with Dr. McAllister because we've spent a lot of time over the last year and so. I don't know how many times I could count, how many times I could have convinced Scott to stick around for another year or two because I have a lot more to learn. And I knew that would be a fruitless effort, so I did it. And so with that, I do want to wish him and Lisa well in their next chapter. It's been a pleasure, and go Dodgers. And Blair. Thank you. So if there aren't any other discussion items, are there any items to read to the board or written communications to the board?
There is not.
One final thing before we adjourn, we do have some cake, and we have some cake for both Scott and Shelley after this, so please stick around. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I appreciate all the kind words. Yeah, James, you can do that too. Just a few things I wanted to share as I've thought about my journey. First of all, many people have mentioned Lisa. I just need to publicly thank you. To say that she has changed my life for the better is not an exaggeration. Quite simply, I wouldn't be here were it not for her. So Lisa, thank you. I look forward to our time together. My wife and I have made this our home for 16 years. We live in Flossmoor. I've worked in this community for 24 years. I've always appreciated the support that the people in the HF community have for their schools, especially in our goal of developing well-rounded students. We've always believed that academics are important, but we have also worked hard to teach them self-respect and to teach them how to get along with others. That is important, and I appreciate this community supporting educating the whole child. Lots of people talk about that term, but we try to live it every day. So thank you to the residents and our families. To all of you up here with me, to Shelley, to Deb Habergorst, to Steve Anderson, Greg Lawrence, all the board members that I've had the pleasure of working with, and Jim, who is in China on a school field trip. You are the best example of what servant leadership truly looks like. You have spent countless hours looking at board packets as you prepare for tonight, sitting in committee meetings. You may not be aware of this, you probably aren't because many of you are still sleeping. Our committee meetings are 6:30 in the morning, and these people get up at 6:30 every day to come and sit and discuss in detail the items that we vote on this evening. Lobbying state officials, attending numerous school events, all these things you do, and you receive no compensation. I think in many places people view being a board member as an opportunity to pursue personal agendas or to relish in the power that they get from being a board member and knowing that your vote impacts literally thousands of kids and hundreds of adults. But to all of you, you've had one thing in mind the entire time, and that's doing right by kids. Every one of you has never, ever approached me and asked for anything personal. It has always been what is best for the kids of this district. And so, being a superintendent, Vaughn, you can attest to this. One of the biggest challenges, there's no amount of preparation that can prepare you for this seat in terms of being a liaison between the board and the staff. Every other job in education, there's been somebody between the board and the staff. Now I am that person. And all of you have made that job incredibly easy for me. So thank you for being true servant leaders. To the administrators, the administrative team that is seated in the back, thank you for giving me the opportunity to work alongside you as we have tackled the day-to-day challenges that come with our jobs. Leadership is not easy. If it were, everyone would do it. And Vaughn, I'm really glad that you're here because I learned a lot from Vaughn, who was my superintendent. He hired me as a teacher and later promoted me as an assistant principal. And Vaughn, I quote you often, and I need to give him proper attribution. One of Vaughn's favorite sayings is, there's no such thing as problems, there are only solutions. And when you're an administrator in the middle of a mess, the last thing you want to hear is that, right? Like, come on, Vaughn. It's a problem, we're all getting driven crazy. But the more I think about it, he's absolutely right. Our responsibility as administrators is to clean up problems. And so we can complain all we want about the problems that we have, and they're never ending. But really our goal is to come up with solutions. That is our responsibility and our charge. So Vaughn, thank you for the leadership you showed to me. To all of you in the back, it has been my absolute pleasure to know you, to work with you, to ignore the distractions that we encounter on a regular basis. All of you are wonderful people, great educators, and certainly I am better because of having known you. And finally, to our staff, the 320 people who work in Homewood School District 153, a handful of whom are here, and I see you and I appreciate you. I've learned so much by watching you every day. Your unbridled passion to help our students is awe-inspiring. Don't judge somebody until you have an opportunity to walk in their shoes. And the day that I subbed as a kindergarten teacher, 2 kindergarten teachers right there. It's one thing when you're the superintendent and you walk in and kids run up and hug you and say hello and then you're out the door in 10 seconds. It is an entirely different experience to be with them for 7 hours. And I did it once. And I swore I will never do it again. I can't describe how, I say horrified because a high school teacher, that is a fish out of water. And it made me incredibly uncomfortable. But empathy means a lot. And understanding what you experience, you and all of your colleagues every day, is really, really inspiring. I've told our staff many times, we have the best jobs in the world. They are difficult, they are challenging, but no one else, well, very few people, get to influence lives the way we do. Every job is important, every job serves a purpose, but I would never want to make widgets. You know, I love the fact that we have had the opportunity to work with people and hopefully influence them in better ways. So to all of our staff, thank you. And the last thing I would like to say, being a professional, being a leader, again, is difficult, but there's something that helps get me through every day outside of my loving wife, and that is friendship. I have a handful of close friends who are here this evening. And I say I'm friendly with all. I don't have a lot of friends, if that makes sense. Because in my role, you can't necessarily become friends with a lot of people. So I have a small group of friends. And to you, the people who have brought me laughter numerous times over the years, that is what keeps me going and has kept me going. So thank you for your friendship. Video?
Yes.
Yeah, there's one final thing that we'll share with you. And the only reason I'm showing you this, IASA, the South Cook region, there's 5 superintendents who retired, me being one. And they were kind enough to do this video, kind of your career in 5 minutes. And I thought, you know, they spent the time to do this video. They sent a videographer out. It would be nice if somebody actually watched it. So I thought we could show that this evening because it is a nice summary of kind of my trajectory in education. So thank you all for being here. And once we watch this 5-minute show, then we have some beautiful cake.
My name is Scott McAllister. This is my 34th year in education, and 5th year as a superintendent. I graduated from Purdue University in West Lafayette, got a job at a place that I didn't know where it existed, a place called Munster, Indiana. And so I ended up in Northwest Indiana from West Lafayette. Worked at the high school there for 10 years as a teacher. And then I came over to Homewood Flossmoor High School as a teacher, and I taught there for 6 years before moving into administration. I really don't hesitate to say the highlight of my career has been working with students, right? As a classroom teacher, you just establish relationships with students that as an administrator you don't, albeit we impact kids in a much different manner as a principal or as a superintendent, but I certainly miss the closeness of the relationships, having an impact on kids. You know, I always felt as a teacher that by the time I saw them as seniors, sometimes you wish you could have had an opportunity to intervene earlier in their life, right? And so coming into an elementary school district, I think the ability to see even our littlest kids, right, the ones who are 4 or 5 years old, all the way up through middle school now, I think that and the ability, again, to impact their lives in a positive manner at a younger age has been particularly I think probably the biggest highlight for me is just making Homewood School District a place that people want to work, that they feel welcome.
I've enjoyed every bit of our time together. He's an amazing leader. He's a great friend. Scott is a big Dodgers fan. And any chance he gets, he wears his Dodgers gear to school. So this is in honor of Scott. Every day when Scott gets here, he gets out of his car and he wipes his back window off with the cloth.
Not only am I going to miss Scott's leadership, but I'm going to miss Scott's friendship. He has been a role model, a mentor, a support for me for all of these years, and that's something I'm truly going to miss.
He's an amazing man. He is a great listener. He pushed me out of my comfort zone plenty of times, which I needed that over my years. But always does it in a very kind way. I'm wearing a Dodgers, shirt because he let us know over and over again, how much of a Dodgers fan he was. He got to do a food critique because it was on TV.
Well, 11 years ago, I started working in Flossmoor, and the first thing I asked when I moved into the community, what are the good restaurants? And immediately somebody said Fresh Starts. And when I dine out, I want great food, I want friendly, attentive service, and I want an atmosphere that is comfortable. And Fresh Starts delivers on all three of those things.
I wish him the best. I hope that he enjoys retirement. It's totally well deserved, and I'll be in touch with him still. For him, go Dodgers.
I will miss you, Scott, very much. It will not be the same around here without you.
Scott, I just want to say congratulations on your retirement. I wish you so much rest and relaxation and Dodgers games. Enjoy it. You have given so much to our district over the years, and you're truly going to be missed. Have fun.
People say, what are you going to miss? No doubt I'm going to miss kids, but I've been directly removed from students for several years now. I'm going to miss the daily interactions with colleagues, whether in the district office or just walking the buildings and spending time with our teachers. It's going to be strange. My wife and I are going on vacation the last week of June, right? I'm taking my vacation days as I end my career, and we'll be in Yosemite Park. So I certainly want to do a lot of traveling and the national parks in particular. You can see here, this is my water bottle, which has the national parks on it. Every time you visit one, you put a sticker. So there's 63 national parks, so hopefully I can check all those one day. I've always enjoyed baking and cooking, and I want to hone that craft, right? Become more proficient at it. One of my other hobbies, you say, what do I like to do? My wife and I are huge Bravo fans, so we watch all these reality shows. Summer House right now is all the rage. I was born in Los Angeles, California. My family traveled because of work. We moved, but I maintained my lifelong allegiance to the Los Angeles Dodgers. When I was growing up, I was a high school student in the 80s, and so I was a huge hair metal fan. I had a mullet, and I showed the staff on the opening day. I showed a picture of my mullet from the 80s, and of course that was a big hit. But more recently, I refined my taste a little bit. A lot more 70s music, classic rock, so to speak. People always joke I was a huge Prince fan, so I did the Purple Rain soundtrack. That was kind of a formative time of my life, age 14 when that album movie came out. So I could sing every song off that album to this day. Right? I can just have every lyric memorized. The fact that I have had the opportunity to work with, it's not exaggeration, thousands of kids. Just knowing that you have had that kind of impact, and I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt and say 9 times out of 10 it was a positive impact, right? That you've impacted that many people in a good way, really brings a smile to my face. And then the other thing is I really cherish the people that I've gotten to know in this profession. Many of them have since retired themselves, right? And now, here I am, the older person looking on the younger generation, but some of my former students are teachers, and some are teachers in this building. So it's a great feeling knowing that you have influenced kids, but also, I trust that I've had a positive impact on a lot of different professionals too.
I'll just say one thing about the window wiping. I assume the question was, is there something quirky he does? I wash my car every morning and I am drying my car, so it's not like I'm some weirdo who goes out and just randomly wipes my back window. I just wanted to clarify.
Yep. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?